Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School Tai Chi Chuan. And now, as they say, for something completely different, I'm on the floor, not standing up. So, a couple of things right off the bat. Warning, 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 Will Robinson. As I always say, if you don't know what that means, Google it. You're going to need to be able, if you're going to follow this video, to sit cross-legged for an extended period of time. So, caveat number one. Caveat number two, now might be the time, if normally when you sit cross-legged, like me, you like a cushion. So if you have a favorite meditation cushion or pillow, you want to sit underneath your hind end, hit pause, go and get it, come back, and we'll still be here. So there you go. I guess t-shirts next. This is only the second time I've worn this particular t-shirt. It is the 2011 World Tai Chi and Qigong Day t-shirt. The first time I wore it was in August of 2020, so just a few months after we started this series in March of 2020. And it was our first ever introduction to the deer frolics. It was deer walking, and it was a Facebook live session, Water Tiger for Sachem. So anyway, so here you go. It's coming up. You know, we're shooting this toward the end of February. So that leaves us March and April. April 27th is World Tai Chi Day, World Tai Chi and Qigong Day. We're starting our process with ours, and it's a process. So we have a lot ahead of us between now and the end of April. I hope you find an event yourself in which to participate, or in which to at least go and watch and get a chance to experience the community that is Tai Chi and Qigong. So anyway, there's that. Today, we're going to do something, as I said at the top, completely different. We have introduced a lot of pieces from various Qigong sets that we do at Water Tiger School as warm-ups for both our Qigong videos and our Tai Chi videos. We have not done a complete set from beginning to end. And mostly the reason for that is just we don't really like presenting something specifically, even in a workshop form, that's something that we put out in the world, in the studio, or in our public classes. And this particular thing that we're doing today is something that is no longer in that rotation. One of the sets we've done pieces for warm-ups is the standing 8 piece of brocade. The Chinese just escaped me. But anyway, the standing 8, which is the most popular set across the world of Qigong, so we have been told. And this is sort of its lesser-known sibling. This is the sitting 8 pieces of brocade. We pulled it from a rotation in our Qigong class because of this. We attempted at first to keep it in the curriculum and to give people modifications in the seated position, but it ended up even the modifications were not possible, and this set does not do what it needs to do if you're setting through the whole set with your legs out. There does come a time in the set for that to happen, but that's later on. So anyway, that's kind of our history, with the set and why we're going to present it today. Now, from Water Tiger School's perspective, we embrace the idea that Marshall Yehefei was the creator of the set back in the Song dynasty. This is around 1100 AD 1100, sorry. And that there were actually originally 12 pieces of brocade, but they've since been weaned down to 8. And that Yehefei created the sets to help keep his soldiers healthy when, doctoring wasn't always a possibility. So we also embrace an approach to this set that there are certain things, activities we do in the set that have a set number of repetitions that really need to be maintained, with some of the parts of the set being sort of up to the person who's playing. So when we get to that aspect, I'll point it out. But for our choice, we're going to do 6 repetitions of things. So there you go. I asked if there were questions, but we're on tape. So I'm going to sit back. Nice cross-legged position. You don't have to do a full lotus, just a simple cross-legged position. I don't want to strain to be upright, but I still want to be upright. And unless the hands are otherwise engaged, they're cupped. Oops, excuse me, and in my lap. And that's it. Right, that's the basic position to start with. And the first piece is simply close eyes and sit in stillness. You'll never guess what we're going to be doing. Yes, we're going to close our eyes and sit in stillness. Now, ideally, this should be 3 to 5 minutes, but we'll probably keep it a little bit shorter than that. Plus, it's not actually going to be stillness because, you know me, I'm going to talk through it. But anyway, we begin. And yes, ideally, the eyes should be closed. And the initial focus is the mind, the yi, on the spirit, the shen. And when it comes to spirit in Qigong and traditional Chinese medicine, so as well as Tai Chi. So my trip of the tongue wasn't actually that much an error until I corrected it and made it seem like an error. Spirit is sort of your vitality, your essence. It doesn't have a religious connotation. And after that initial focus of the mind on the spirit, we focus the mind on the Zhang Dan Tian. Not the acupuncture point, which is on the surface of the skin around the solar plexus area, but the actual Zhang Dan Tian, the middle field of elixir, is inside the body cavity in that same area, but it's between the straight line or the line of the crown point of the head to the base of the pelvic bowl. So it's more central in the mid-torso. And the idea there is to connect with the qi that we have absorbed from that what we consume, the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, the liquids that we drink. After creating that connection to the Zhang Dan Tian and that energy, bring the focus to the Sheng Dan Tian. Again, not the acupuncture point for the Sheng Dan Tian, which is the third eye and other energy modalities, the lower center of the forehead, but the actual esoteric vessel that sets in the skull. Again, more or less on the line between the crown point of the head and the base of the pelvic bowl. Some people place it in the area of the pineal gland in the brain. Again, Google. And this initial focus, and close eyes and sit in stillness, by, if you will, filtering the qi from the Zhang Dan Tian through the Sheng Dan Tian, energizes the body. I'm going to allow a few breaths of stillness. So believe it or not, McElroy Lao Shi is going to shut up. If you're like me, check in on your shoulders. One more breath for me. You can continue to breathe. You can continue to keep your eyes closed because there's nothing yet to see. 2 hands hold the Kunlun, which is the second of the sitting 8. Kunlun is one of the highest mountains in China. And the piece starts by tapping our teeth together 36 times. The tapping stimulates qi in the gums, and it helps to awaken the mind. After the tapping is concluded, swallow any saliva or golden elixir, if you will, that has accumulated. Begin the tapping. The second part of the second piece of brocade is interlock the fingers, put them behind your head over the occipital protuberance, which is just above the jade pillow. And for the chosen number of repetitions, I want to pull forward as I press back for our chosen number of repetitions, which again is 6. And the idea, the press and the pull straightens and strengthens the spine. Release. And 2, breathe when you have to. No real breath pattern here. I might suggest a breath pattern from time to time. And release. It also stimulates qi in the governing vessel, the dumai, in the back of the sanjiao, the triple burner. I think that was 3. Here's 4. In our water tiger, we like to think of it as instigating a movement of the qi stimulated in the front of the skull toward the back of the skull. I'm going to call that 5. And 1 more is 6. And that takes us to the third, which for us is sound the heavenly drum. I mentioned the jade pillow, which is a soft spot right underneath the occipital protuberance on the back of the head. It's that bump that's sort of at the top of the neck, the base of the back of the skull. That's the occipital protuberance. The soft spot underneath of it is the jade pillow, the yu jin. We're going to tap with our index fingers and middle fingers together. We want to make sure as we cover our ears that we're not wrapping, and turn sideways for a moment, we're not touching the sides of our head with the other digits in either hand. So the thumbs, the ring fingers, and the pinkies stay away. This is another one that has a set number of repetitions, which is 24. You can do both sides at the same time, 24 times, or you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your choice. But again, this is the soft spot underneath the bump on the back of your head. And it's 24 times. Focus on the sound. Again, don't muffle. And helps to clear the mind. But we also like at Water Tiger School to feel that the qi that we started in the front of the skull, pressed to the back of the skull, is now carried throughout the head on the sound waves from the tapping. And at about 7, the tapping should be even. I kind of had a pause there, but you probably didn't know that. That's 3. 4 is lightly turn the sky post. So in the microcosm of the human being, the head is the heavens, the body is the earth, the neck is the post that connects the heavens to the earth to the heavens, hence the sky post. This is another in our compound pieces of brocade. So there's a second half, but the first, chosen number of repetitions, we simply turn left and right, feeling a stretch but not a strain. So I'm going to go left first. I'm going to breathe when I have to because I like a nice slow turn. There's 1 to the first side and just back. And the preference here generally is to keep the chin slightly tucked as it would be in any other vertical alignment thing that we do. However, that might present some trickiness for people's cervical vertebra. That's 1 and 1. Coming through the center. And, if it makes you feel a little bit wonky, to keep your eyes open during this. You can keep them closed. It doesn't matter one way or the other. This is not turn, look, and leave behind in the standing eight, where you actually have to look over your shoulder if your approach is anything like ours for the standing eight. I believe this is 3 and 3. Check in on the shoulders. Check in to make sure that you're not collapsing your spine. The second half of this, we're going to stir the golden saliva, the golden elixir, this saliva in our mouths, with our tongue. The red dragon. It's 4 and 4, I believe. To kind of put out the fire in the body. 5. When you stir with your tongue, you have your choice. You can go vertical circles, or what I would refer to as horizontal circles, forward and back, instead of around the sides and up. But 36 times. This is the 6th, I believe, to the first side. Nice stretch without a strain. The idea here is we're opening up the sky post, so the swallowing also carries the chi down into the body. We know the saliva will go to the stomach, but we want to imagine that it's actually being carried down into the body, into the Xia Dantian. So, time for the stirring. I tend to do the over the top and sides thing. So, 36 times with the red dragon, the tongue, building the saliva. One. 30. 36. I should have told you this before. We want to imagine that we can figure out how to break the saliva in our mouths into thirds and swallow only a third at a time. First thought, third. Imagine it going down. Second third. Let it go down. Third third. Let it go down. I didn't mention as we were lightly swinging the sky post, it also can help eliminate headaches and relieve tension in the neck and shoulders. That brings us to the 5th piece of brocade in the sitting 8. It's another time for a warning, Will Robinson. The first thing you're supposed to do is seal the breath. In other words, hold your breath. I'm just talking through it right now. Rub the hands until they're hot, and then massage the essence door, the Shen Yu, 24 times. Because it's a slow pace, turning circles over the lower back, chances are you won't be able to hold your breath through that entire time. Break it up. Don't strain. So you can do, if you have a really low breath capacity, 4 turns, come to the front, clap, rub your hand, seal your breath again. Take a breath, seal your breath, clap your hands, rub them until they're warm. Do another 4, or 6 and 6, and 6 and 6, or 8 and 8 and 8, or 12 and 12. whatever works best for you. But again, don't strain. This is going to stimulate your Yuan Qi, your primordial Qi, the Qi that you got at birth from your parents in the Shen Yu, and help you to keep it. When the Yuan Qi is completely depleted, that's it, folks. So that's one of the reasons it's called the essence door. We want to like slap a nice weather seal around that locked door so the Qi doesn't come out. So again, break it up as you must to get to 24. I just do little circular rubs on the back. Flesh to flesh is best, but if that's not possible, that's okay. So I'm going to begin the process for me. And that's the fifth massage, the essence door. Now we get to straighten our legs. Left and right windlass is number 8. We're going to turn our hands and arms in circles over the legs in 2 directions. It opens up Qi movement in the legs and the arms both. And it is seen as pumping previously generated Qi that's more or less been in this area through the entire body. So this is one where you might breathe with it, with an exhalation as you move down the legs and inhalation over the top. We're going to start down and away. And again, our chosen number of repetitions, 6. So I'm going to inhale and exhale down. And inhale back. And exhale down. And inhale back. And exhale down. 3. 4. 5. 6. And then exhale. 1. Inhale out. 2. 3. 4. 5. We like to think of this as like if you're putting cream in your coffee in the morning or tea. You know, you stir the liquid one direction and then you change the direction. It really helps the tea to absorb, to spread out the cream. So the same thing with the Qi. That brings us to 7, which is another sort of compound. It is lift, press, and hold. We're going to interlock the fingers, press up, then down, then go. Now, here's the tricky part is ideally, I want to be able to come into contact with kidney 1 on the balls of both feet. So if you can't do that, that's okay. What you want to do is create the illusion. So even if I can't reach, I'll probably still I would still pull my toes back, and I would make little hooks like I was going there, and then do an isometric pull. Be careful, even with the isometric pull, let alone the actual physical pull, that you don't strain yourself. The idea is to make a connection with kidney 1. You're actually giving your kidneys a double whammy, because anytime you do a forward fold, standing or sitting, it activates the Shen Yu. You're coming into either physical or mental contact to stimulate kidney 1, the Yang Quan, the bubbling well cavity on both feet. We also like to think about this as, completing the circuit of the body. So this is another do it for your chosen number of repetitions. So it's 6 times. We're going to interlock the fingers. We're going to go up and lift up. And by the way, the lift up here, you're going to feel the activation in the yin conception vessel, the renmai, down over the acupuncture point, the Bakwei point, and press up as you pull down. Now you're stimulating the yang governing vessel, the Dumai. And then reaching down. And a little pull on the toe crack. Bonus. Won't charge you extra for that. Here's 2. Breathe when you have to, but usually an exhalation on the lift up, and inhalation and exhalation. And inhalation to get to the feet, and an exhalation. And there's 2. Hard to believe we're at 7 already of the 8. Here's 3. And 3. And 3. Here's 4. And 4. Relax my feet a little bit. And 4. Here's 5. And 5. And 5. By the way, if you already didn't think some of this is kind of odd and esoteric, 6. You ain't seen nothing yet. And 6. Release those toes there, McElroy Lashi. And 6. I'm going to return to my cross-legged position. Palms in the lap. It's sort of a return to sit in stillness, but with a specific purpose. We're going to tamp down the Chi's cultivation in our bodies. We're going to sit patiently, wait for the golden elixir to accumulate until we have enough to do 3 swallows. We're going to do that 3 times. So that's 9 swallows. Each swallow needs to have a gulping sound. We focus on the lower dantian, the Xia dantian. This time, not cultivating qi, but using the saliva to really calm everything down. Focusing on the lower dantian to also feel the cultivation and the movement of qi, not the cultivation, but now the movement of qi through the body. And as we finish the 9 swallows, here's the what kind of drugs are you on moment. You want to imagine that you are raising the Wei Qi, protective Qi, to the surface of your skin to, here's a term with which you might be familiar, ward off illnesses. So you imagine yourself glowing, having a little aura around yourself to bring that Qi, the Wei Qi, to the surface. So here we go. No stirring with the tongue to cultivate saliva. That would stimulate more Qi cultivation. And now we just want the Qi to flow. All of a sudden I'm thinking of Jeremiah was a bullfrog. My first group of 3. My second group of 3. The name of this, by the way, is Entire Sky Slow Transportation. The 8th of the sitting 8. My third mouthful of saliva is a little shy. After your 3 sets of 3, it's like Bruce Leroy. Google it. Glow. Well, it might be ideal to set longer. Probably no need for us today, since this is, a workshop of the set. But there you go. Water Tiger School's approach to the sitting 8 pieces of brocade. Hope, as always, that you enjoyed the opportunity to maybe explore something perhaps you didn't even know existed. The lesser-known sibling to the standing 8 pieces of brocade. And as everything that we do, I know there are other approaches, even though some people, again, may not have known that the sitting 8 pieces of brocade existed, have their own interpretations down through the ages. from when the sitting 8 or the standing 8 were created, and even by whom. So, as always, we like to say that we preview, we set the video up for previewing comments. It doesn't seem to be actually allowing us to do that. It just posts them. But constructive criticism always welcome. But be polite. And we also post a link to this on our Facebook page, where it's a little bit more free range, but sort of the same thing. You'll get, the comment will be removed, and you'll get banned from the Facebook page if you flame us. If you say, if you give negative criticism, as long as it's constructive, that's fine. We'll leave it alone. So, just a heads up, we've been doing this 3-week rotation for the last couple of years, at least. But this will be one of those instances as we go into March that it won't be 3 weeks. It ain't going to be 2 weeks either. So probably 4, it might even have to be 5. So toward the second half of March, we'll have our next video. And we'll be back to a Tai Chi topic, to be determined. So as always, thanks for your time and attention. Hope you dug this. I think I told you to Google at least 3 or 4 different things between Will Robinson and what was it? Oh, the last one was Bruce Leroy, and I think there was one other in there that was a different topic. But anyway, so there you go. Take care. Be well.